Hi everybody, it's Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. And I'm telling you to like this video and subscribe to Carny's YouTube channel.
Hey guys, it's Carny. How's it going? Fellas, good to see you. Ladies, it is so good to see you. So good to see you. I feel like singing. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that, but regardless, welcome in. So Katy Perry's career has moved to a new phase. A phase in which she makes music that no one seems to care about or like, and everyone seems to just want her to go away. A lot of people have been saying her career is over, and I understand that terminology, but I would argue that we should use a different word. I don't think Katy Perry's career is over. I think it's expired. What do I mean by that? Katy Perry as a brand worked 15 years ago, but it doesn't work anymore. She doesn't work anymore. Let's talk about why. So Katy Perry has had a career with higher highs than most artists would dare to dream of. If Katy Perry was a basketball team, the term used to describe the beginning of her career would be dynastic. Katy Perry's run from 2008 to 2013 is the musical equivalent of like the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. She was everywhere. Almost every song off Teenage Dream was a single, and they somehow were all hits. When you think of Teenage Dream, you might think of songs like Wide Awake or Part of Me. Except those songs were not even on the original track listing for Teenage Dream. Those were the bonus tracks. Think about how popular those songs were. And now think about the fact that those were like the B-side, hey, we'll throw you some breadcrumbs from the table tracks. When Katy Perry did the Super Bowl halftime show, she got a bunch of adult male football fans to do this. Anyone watching her career at this point would have thought, oh, this is Madonna. She's gonna be the next Madonna. She's gonna be this popular for like 30 years. So what happened? Why did it work then, and why doesn't it work now? There are three, count them, three reasons why. And I'm gonna tell you what they are right now. Let's start with number one. This one isn't gonna take long. The songs, they're not good, guys. I don't know how we got from Last Friday Night to Woman's World, but I imagine it happens in the way that I imagine a car crash happened. Relatively quickly, but somehow also in slow motion. And I'm not entirely sure why. Like, it's not like she writes her own song. She has like, you know, these professional songwriters that write big hits for all the big artists writing her songs, and it's still not working. But it is true. The songs, they don't hit anymore. Then why? Because they're pretty f***ing bad. Daisies is not Firework. They are in different classes. Oh, but Daisies is actually like, it's actually like a really sweet song. It's about her daughter. Like, did you know that? Did you know that that's actually like about her daughter, and it's like, this like has this message? Stop it. You sound ridiculous, Tamra. Now, if we compare this to the other potential Madonna-level superstar who became that Madonna-level superstar, we can see a pretty big difference. Taylor Swift has found a way to, every couple years, have a song that everybody knows. Or if they don't know it, they, you know, when they get to the chorus, they're like, oh, right, it's this one, I've heard this. Katy Perry just doesn't have that anymore. And I don't know if that's because she judged American Idol and her finger just left the pulse of what actual music consumers want, and she kind of shifted her attention to whatever the fuck people who watch American Idol in 2024 would want to listen to. But when I hear any of her new music, it's just so bland and generic. It sounds like music made for a 2020s American Idol audience. Not a compliment. A dig, in fact. There's not much left to say on this. It's sad because, like, she used to make really good music. Teenage Dream is one of the best pop albums of all time. I am willing to die on that hill. I don't think there is anyone who isn't a Katy Perry super fan who could name you more than 2 songs off Smile, if that. On to number 2. Speaking of American Idol, I think it's probably the worst move that she ever made for her career as a popular mainstream artist. You might be thinking, but wait a minute, being on The Voice did wonders for Blake Shelton and Adam Levine's career. That's because The Voice let us get to know those two. Going on those shows made them more famous. Katy Perry going on American Idol was like, she was the one who was super famous and she was supposed to be the draw for the show. Now, if you want to argue that it still was like a great move for her and, you know, like, well, what she should have done was just, you know, kind of use it to transition into this sort of like celebrity mom figure like Kelly Clarkson Erickson and that it, would have worked out great for her if she had done that, then, I don't know, I might respond to that with, oh, yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. I might respond that way if I didn't think that that is exactly what they were trying to do and they failed at it. But hey, that's just my correct opinion. Now, the reason this was such a bad move for her career is it put her in this really weird position when it came to availability. She was too available to be considered elusive, and she was too unavailable to be considered a content creator. This is a very interesting aspect of, how being a celebrity has changed over the last 20 years. Celebrities used to be really unavailable to their fans. They were so unavailable that people were totally okay with watching them go on these late night talk shows, telling these rehearsed stories and playing these verbal games of t-ball with the host, because that was literally the only time you got to see them. But then all that changed about 20-ish years ago, because then YouTube happened, and suddenly all the kids had internet celebrities who posted every day that they could watch all the time. And because these people weren't as successful as like mainstream artists and mainstream famous people, in our heads we kind of just classified them as internet people, which meant they were still just normal people. This is like watching a friend on the screen. It felt like we knew Philip DeFranco. It felt like we knew Rosanna Pansino. It felt like we knew too much about Shane Dawson. Availability is a very strange part of being a successful artist nowadays, because you either need to be completely available to your fans or completely unavailable to your fans. If you look at artists like Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift, they're really not that available to people. They don't post on social media a ton, and that kind of creates this mystique around them. But the reason that that works is because when they do make themselves available to their audience, they seem genuine. On the flip side of that coin, you have artists like Chappell Roan and Charlie XCX who are really available to their audience. They post all the time. They're always communicating with their fans. They're always available. In Chappell Roan's case, some might say a little too available, but that still works because whether you like what they have to say or not, they come across as very genuine when they communicate with people. And that leads me to number 3. Another huge difference between what the audience wanted back then and what they want now is authenticity. People don't want to spend their time watching rich people get asked softball questions by another rich person and tell the same story on one talk show that they told on a different talk show a year earlier.
So I came up with this brilliant idea to pretend that I was having an affair. And I was so lonely here for so many days. And you do crazy things when you're in this state. And he said to me, oh, please don't tell me you picked up another dog. I'm gonna make him believe that I'm having an affair. And at the end, I explain it's not an affair. Oh. The combination is lethal when you're so lonely and so overworked and you don't think straight. And in this moment of madness, he goes, oh, please don't tell me you picked up another dog.
They want to watch them eat wings so hot that they are in pain and they cannot possibly present anything other than their authentic selves to the camera. This is why The Tonight Show just got dropped to 4 days a week. People just don't want that interview style anymore. They want to watch 3-hour podcasts where they feel like they can really get to know somebody. I remember years ago watching the Britney Spears carpool karaoke episode, and I just remember there being so many comments that were like, why is she so weird? Which translates to, why isn't she relatable? And the real answer is, she was allowed to be weird 20 years ago as long as she could still sing and dance. She didn't have to be relatable back then. You do have to be relatable now. This is something Katy Perry does wrong constantly. There is this one clip from, I think, her first season as a judge on American Idol where this gay man walks in, he's a contestant, and he sees her and he says wig. And she tries so hard to jump on the back of that phrase in the most like, see, I know what this word is. Oh my God, like I'm part of this community.
Wig, okay.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Yes.
I know, wig. I feel that already.
What is wig? What is wig?
No, it's not your language. It's just for us. Wig.
It's so forced. And on top of that, it's so fucking weird. Every time she tries to be relatable, it comes across as so weird. And the thing is, she's always kind of been known as a little bit weird, but it kind of worked for her back in the day because, like I said, celebrities weren't as available. So if she did act weird, it kind of worked because that weirdness would come in the form of her dressing a little bit goofy in a music video or maybe doing something memorable on SNL. And it seemed like she might have been doing those things because she was self-aware. But now in context, it seems like she just did those things because she's kind of weird. And she proves that again and again and again. Telling the entire world that you your husband because he does the dishes is not a questionable decision. It's an insane decision. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, because it's like, if she was like this all the time and never came across as calculated in any way, it might just be charming, because you'd just be like, oh, she's just sort of like a kooky person. But you can't joke about giving oral to Orlando. Thank you. Because you're just so honest and authentic. And then in the same podcast, get asked a very legitimate, very real question about your decision to work with Dr. Luke after everything that's happened and respond with this.
I understand that it started a lot of conversations, and he was one of many collaborators that I collaborated with. But the reality is it comes from me. The truth is, I wrote these songs from my experience of my whole life going through this metamorphosis.
That is such a rehearsed answer, and it comes across as aggressively fake when she says it. But again, that may have worked 15 years ago. Working with Dr. Luke after the allegations that came out against him, that also may have still worked 15 years ago. But times change. And I think that kind of brings me back to my main point. I don't think her career is over. I think her career is completely non-viable in the marketplace. Katy Perry, the brand, is like Blockbuster. Society has just moved past it. And I recognize I might be coming across as like very cruel to talk about her this way because like obviously she is still a person, but she also is a business. Any artist at her level is. And a business going out of business is a business going out of business. Doesn't matter if it's a pop star or a brick building. And it almost makes me feel kind of bad for her because I don't know, like it worked for her for so long. She was successful doing business in a certain way for so long, and then she just wasn't anymore. Going back to an analogy I made earlier, it kind of feels like a basketball team that used to be successful. They won by playing a certain way, but then the game changed and they didn't think they had to change with it, so the game left them in the dust. The time is past for artists that are not available and authentic. The kids are just too used to it now for the industry to reward anything else. When I listen to Woman's World by Katy Perry, the first thing that comes to my mind, other than how god-awful it is it's how dated it sounds. We live in a world where WAP is a generational feminist anthem. You can't come to the party with a shitty club version of Fight Song and expect people to get down with it. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think Katy Perry's career is over? Do you agree with some of the things I've said, and do you think it's expired? Or do you think I'm wrong about all of this and you think she can make a comeback? Comment below, let me know, and if you can, without checking, name 3 songs off Witness. I don't think you can. Fellas, it was good to see you, and say something nice to the ladies on the way out.
Hi everybody, it's Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. And I'm telling you to like this video and subscribe to Carny's YouTube channel. That's Carny's YouTube channel.